All right. And we are live. Welcome to the Redbird Redzone podcast. My name is Will. You can find me on Twitter at LiveOnThatSwing. Joining me today, I've got my two lovely co-hosts and a very special guest. Why don't you three introduce yourselves?
Yo, I'm Mac. Thank you guys for joining us. You can find me on Twitter at AZ Sports Fiend. That's FIEN.
And I'm Jackie. You can find me on Twitter at JSanDiego. That is with two O's. And we are joined back by Cory. Cory, I'm so sorry I couldn't be there to drown our sorrows in beer, but how was the game, dude?
It was great. I enjoyed the atmosphere of it. My bad. Introduce myself, Cory. You can follow me on Twitter at Cory_cards. Yeah, I mean, to get straight into the game, I enjoyed myself. The atmosphere was amazing. I ended up going by myself, so I was technically quote unquote by myself, but I was surrounded by a bunch of Cardinals fans that were around us. Sue's fan of the year, she was behind me, and a couple other people were around us too. So I mean, it was a good atmosphere. I enjoyed myself. It was a lot of friendly shit talking going on between me and the Commanders fans. Held it down, but ended up taking a L. Sadly, disappointing fashion. We'll get into the game, but the atmosphere was amazing. I definitely will have to be a sideline like that close to a game again. It's nothing like it. So I enjoy myself.
Any Commanders? Did any Commanders fans give you shit?
Of course. We were going back and forth. I prompt when Zayvon Collins got that pick. Like, I'm a huge Zayvon Collins fan, so when he got that pick, they almost threw me out the stadium because I was going nuts up and down the aisle. But of course, we were going back and forth. They made a big play. They were in my face. We made a big play. I was in their face. They obviously got the last laugh, but it was definitely all good and fun, friendly shit talking, of course.
Under $250 you spent on those tickets. I saw your videos. You're right there on the action, man.
Well, over. Not too much over, but over for sure.
Yeah. Okay, big baller.
Okay. For sure.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, no, go on. Sorry.
But how's overall? What was your thoughts, your takeaways? What you like, what you didn't like?
I think overall, like what most of us probably will say is my main enjoyment was just seeing the team be in the game. I think the biggest thing that we all mentioned before is just be competitive. So be in the game. But two, I thought the physicality. I mean, the physicality, you felt it. Obviously, a lot of stuff coming from Commanders fans about Cardinals possibly being dirty. They tried to take out Sam Howell, XYZ. I was actually the play where Kazir White hits Sam Howell on the sideline was like literally right and kind of in front of my face. So I got a full-fledged of that. But overall, I think like just the overall just being in the game and the competitiveness and the physicality of the team, especially on the defensive side, I think was huge. Offensively, we'll get into it. But I mean, at the end of the day, like the offense is going to be what the offense is with a guy that's only been here for 2 weeks. Like that's really what it comes down to. And if you don't have solid offensive line play, which we probably get into, which we didn't have that, and you got him turn the ball over, which he didn't do until the end of the third and in the fourth quarter, it'll hurt you. So like overall, I just think Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis, at least on the defensive side of the ball, and Drew Petzing as the season will go on, especially when you get Kyler Murray. What should I say? Being prepared will be a huge thing for us this entire season. I think every week we'll come into every game prepared, ready, and knowing what to do. And it'll just be on that players to execute. I think a lot of times under Cliff, don't mean to bash him, but we were just not prepared. We didn't look ready for the moment. I think under Gannon, Rallis, and Petzing will be ready for every moment. It's just up to the players to execute.
How was that weather out there? Looked pretty brutal in the third quarter, the second half. I think
it was
bring that up, both that fumble a little bit, the bad snap, and the passing game, or just even moving the ball at all, really down in the second half. Kind of, the first half was kind of surprising. We weren't able to punch it in, but get a couple field goals. Defense carried us. That third quarter, though, through the TV screen, it just looked like it was downpouring all third quarter, and even through a little bit most of the fourth quarter, just at least trickling. What was it like right there down on the field? I haven't heard anyone really talk about that.
Yeah, most of the game, it was maybe a little bit of cloudy, then the sun would pop out, then if the rain would come, it would come for maybe about 10 minutes. That meant that third quarter that you mentioned, it was probably the hardest part of the rain. I wouldn't even say it was raining hard, it was just raining a lot, like a very, very heavy drizzle. So those are ones that are kind of more annoying because you're trying to wipe stuff out your face and you're trying to make sure everything's good and okay. But I just think I don't think the weather played too much into the game as it may have looked on TV, because I think the teams outside of that one period where it was just a kind of a harder rain, the teams kind of knew it was going to be like that, so they prepared and they were ready for it. But I watched it on TV too, and I saw like how kind of heavy it looked. But overall, it was only maybe like 2 spurts of bad rain. Other than that, I had my hoodie off, I had my shirt on. It was kind of hot outside at certain points too, so uh, it wasn't weather. Obviously, I know when we play at home, there's no weather at all. So, but for them to go out there and be in an outside element, I don't think it was too detrimental for what happened, I should say.
And that was the first thing I had, and because we talked about last week, we would like to see this offense take some shots. You see a lot of 12, 14, 15 play drives. You end up with 50 yards or something like that, settling for a field goal. That's tough to make a living in the NFL. So I wasn't sure. That maybe it probably was part of the game plan. You don't want to take too many deep shots, knowing what the weather would be like. But was there something in the offense that you were most disappointed about? I know you hinted at the offensive line, and that was my takeaway immediately after the game. I mean, I'm just going to get off my chest, man. A lot of these Cardinals fans, what the fuck were you expecting with Josh Dobbs coming in here? 2 weeks, he going into a rough environment. That environment looked pretty fucking loud and crazy. You're from Washington, so it sounded like, from what I could tell, that was one of their bigger crowds and, more dialed into fan base, experiences over the last maybe decade plus. So to get Josh Dobbs 2 weeks, go on the road, going up against a tough front seven. I don't think people realize how good of a front seven you're going up, even without Chase Young. And with some weather right there. And, you're not going to win if you don't have people around you supporting you. And I do believe that the offensive line was the biggest, downfall in this game. Is that kind of something that you saw in the stands right there? Or was that more when you got home rewatching the game?
Yeah, I would say it was more so something I definitely noticed after the game, because I think in my seat, I was in a certain point where you kind of see whether or not their D line was just past our offensive line or not. Like certain things like Will Hernandez is whatever he got that in the
he missed the
illegal
block.
illegal man downfield,
down forward just because his momentum was gone, and that was one of our bigger plays of the game.
When that happened, I was so much so like I was sitting in the stands so confused of why we got a penalty, because I'm sitting here and he kind of looks like he's dead aligned with our lineman. So I was like, why is that a penalty? And you mentioned exactly, he slipped, he falls 4 or 5 yards. Of course, it's a legal man downfield. But I think that was something I didn't notice until I rewatched it from the broadcast view. But I just think overall, like the offensive line, especially guys like Yelda Fro, who we thought played very well in the preseason, and again, like Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, these are guys are all pro bowlers. Like, so it's so hard to just give him a measuring stick, and you have to give him like the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, like a little bit better would have maybe possibly helped us win that game that day. And so like Yelda Froho, I mean Elijah Wilkinson was terrible. Was terrible. DJ Humphries, he held his own until the fourth quarter. Like he just wore out, I guess. And Paris Johnson Jr. is a rookie, so like in his first starting overall game, it's hard to like tell him like you have to do this, Y, Z, because you have to learn what you have to do. So I think that D line definitely created a presence. I thought them missing Chase Young would have been a huge thing for that team to take advantage of. But you didn't see too many runs to the side of Chase Young not being there just because Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne were blowing every run up. And I like that was really the main gist of everything. Why, as good as James Conner was, we didn't give him enough touches to be able to do that because they felt they had to move the shotgun all the time because of how impactful Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen were. So I think next week this could happen again with Dexter Lawrence. We'll get into it, but I just like the offensive line thing. I noticed that when I rewatched it, and I just think overall in game I was sitting there like, why Josh Dobbs? You got to hit this person, hit that person. This person's open. You can hit him, but it's like you sit there and watch it like he has not much time to throw it. He has not much time to process.
On that fumble, if you go back and look at the fumble where he's trying to go deep, I believe, to Michael Wilson, kind of like a little curl route, but it's like 15, 20 yards down the field. There's nobody. You go back and watch that play. There's nobody turning their head. He would have had to release the ball before Michael Wilson, has to turn and make his break. But you don't. This is your first game experience to anyone. You're not going to be leading receivers like that, So that was unfortunate right there for sure. Is there something that you guys saw, Will, Jackie, that you want to ask Cory about the game or something in general that disappointed you guys, or something?
I thought Dobbs was just abysmal. I think his pocket presence was really bad, and there were times where he was getting a lot of space where he didn't do anything with it, and that's very frustrating to see in action. And I don't have the view he has for obvious reasons. Broadcast angles don't show me what he sees down the field, but I'd see him teetering around in the pocket and just taking his time and then running for his life when the pocket would collapse. It's like his pocket presence was just abysmal to me. It was a very frustrating game for him. And it sucks too because our defense put on a show. Our defense looks as fired up as they've looked in ages, and it felt like that went to waste from a frankly just lackluster offensive showing. It was a very frustrating game to me.
Will is our resident pessimist for those of you tuning in for the first time, maybe ever. I was pleasantly surprised, given the fact that, no, we didn't win, and Dobbs needs a little more time to get familiar with the system. We played better than advertised. We still got shit on by the media. Fuck the power rankings right now. But this was a very inspiring looking team. I've seen terrible fucking Cardinals teams that, not even terrible teams, just like, I've seen terrible performances by this team that should have been good. But I've seen this team play very uninspired football. That was the most inspiring football for a team that's supposedly tanking, that's supposedly supposed to be dead last, in the league, supposed to have this fucking terrible defense, terrible offense. They came out and they looked fucking prepared, well coached. Our defense fucking put on a show. And yeah, offense was very underwhelming. You can put some of that on lack of preparedness from Josh Dobbs. I'm sorry if this is a very controversial take for the Clayton Tune truthers. Stop making Clayton Tune happen. It's not going to happen.
He's going to be a Jet.
Yeah, if he's that good, he needs to go replace Aaron Rodgers right now. But it's not going to happen. The front office did a disservice to us by not getting us Josh Dobbs sooner. But with 2 weeks of prep, not enough rapport with our wide receiver unit. It wasn't going to be stellar. And you can probably chalk some of that up to Drew Petzing. I think it was just like a kind of a vanilla playbook just to try to, get the ball out quick, get these dink and dunk plays going. Not sure what he was doing with the run game as far as James Conner is concerned. And then Dobbs too. You can put a little bit of the blame there because his 2 fumbles did cost us the game. And what I noticed too is that, he wasn't going past his first read. If his first read wasn't there, he kind of held onto the ball too long, and that kind of hurt. But it was very exciting to watch, just seeing that, we all thought we were going to get blown out. Washington's fans thought they were going to blow us out, and we fucking lit it up with defense. And it's something that you can really hang your hat on. It's frustrating that we didn't come away with a win because we should have came with a win. I doubt any Washington fan is watching this, but you fucking stole one from us. That we should have won that game.
Before we go
with all that said, I do have to name a big dick player of the game.
What?
So that's gonna go to Dennis Gardeck, Mr. Stash, the fucking barbarian himself, who went from a special teamer to a fucking stud on this defense. And it just shows that you can, if you have the fucking right attitude and the worth ethic, you can make shit happen for yourself. And I'm still glad he's here hanging tough.
And he's one of the, you don't think about it, he's one of the he's one of the longest tenured Cardinals now. Exactly. Coming in 2018. You got a few guys, you got Buddha ahead of him with DJ Humphries is, a little bit ahead of him, but there are not many guys on this team, and he came up from the bottom. So he's done everything he that's asked of him. One thing you have to, talking about that offensive performance, Zach Ertz had 10 targets for 21 yards. Trey McBride had 2 targets for 23 yards. And so when your game plan is you're going to be checking off to your tight ends 12 out of your 30 pass attempts, it's obvious that, they wanted him to look at his first read, go from there. They know that what defensive front they're going up against, with multiple coaches coming from the NFC East, seeing the Commanders multiple times last couple of years. So that is definitely something I would like to hopefully this game, the Giants aren't as good of a defensive line front seven as Washington is. But to see Michael Wilson get more involved, you have to get Hollywood Brown more involved in space.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Rondell. You had that wheel route to Rondell, and there wasn't much else after that. So, and I do want to see more Trey McBride than we talked about last week. You have to build up Zach Ertz's trade value because right now, coming off an ACL injury, at his age, he doesn't have much of a trade value. So you're kind of at a fine line. Obviously the more athletic, the guy who is going to be here when the next great Cardinals team is around is more likely to be Trey McBride and not Zach Ertz. But you can't just put him as the starter and move Ertz as a backup when he's a free agent next year and you're just holding on. You have however many millions sitting on your bench in a year where you do want to keep adding assets. And if you could build up and get a 5th rounder for Ertz when it's all said and done, basically makes that Josh Dobbs trade a wash. But to your point, Jackie, for anyone saying Clayton Tune will come in there and get that win, there's a reason he's a 5th round rookie whose coaching staff went out and got somebody else and brought him in. Somebody who earned the number 2 fucking spot for the Cleveland Browns. He's not just some guy who's, you brought him in off waivers or whatever. This is a guy that was under Drew Petzing, and I feel like that playbook will grow. But just, the amount of cynicism towards, Dobbs, I thought he played well the game in that first half. That second half, obviously those 2 fumbles hurt. But when your game plan is to do that first check and go when you're going up against a defensive front like that, when you have weather on the way too. Too many people call him dog shit, who I thought were smart Cardinal fans. But you're going off and calling this guy shit fucking after week 1. Go fuck yourself. You're not a fan. You're just fucking looking for accolades or fucking likes or. I just can't stand that shit. It's the same thing with the fucking Diamondbacks right now. On Monday, they're fucking second spot of the wild card in the playoffs. If it happened, they lose 3 in a row. They're still tied for that last 3rd wild card. Everyone's like, chalk this fucking season up, put a wrap on it, simulate the rest of the year. It's fucking over. No, it's fucking sports, man. Fucking let it play out. You can't make it just the overreactions. It's just that's why I'm not on social media as much. I like to go in there, post shit, fucking get off. Because if I scroll too long, man, it fucking makes me mad.
But you know what it is? It's a lot of unathletic motherfuckers with opinions.
Guys.
Hey, man, I'm not unathletic now. 20 years ago.
Neither, but
maybe not, but for real.
This season's over. You want to know how I know it's over?
Because you believe.
I believe. I like this team. I felt good about watching Cardinals football for the first time in like a year and a half.
Oh, no, guys.
Can I just say, if we don't win on Sunday, I don't know when we're going to get our first win. Because you got the Cowboys, Niners coming up. I mean, as much as I picked the Cardinals to win more times than not on this broadcast, I don't think I ever picked against them. Those 2 teams from week 1 at least, and just their personnel alone, that's not something I'm looking forward to. And that's not something anyone should want your 5th round rookie to have to endure. Even if Josh Dobbs sucks it up this week, you want to throw him out there against the Cowboys, then the Niners? I don't know.
But no, I mean, I saw tenacity from this team that I haven't seen in ages. I saw that fucking offense on Sunday, and I can see how Kyler Murray is going to fit into that, and I think that's going to be really fucking fun. I feel good about watching Cardinals football and spending 3 hours on a Sunday doing it for the first time in fucking ages, and that's so weird for me to say. This is an inspiring.
It's a fucking
bunch.
rap, guys. Will's a believer.
Throw
him the fucking towel. Anyways,
Jackie, what are you drinking on? What are you drinking on?
So I've got me a Santan Moon Juice. Typically, I'm just a straight out of the bottle or the can type of gal. But my sister gave me this like fancy tin cup that kind of reminds me of like a big Solo cup, and it keeps my beer cold because it's really fucking hot in my house.
Guys,
what?
I've got something that'll make you even madder. we are a competent quarterback away from being a 7 or 8 win team.
No, without a doubt, we
Absolutely.
are. If Kyler Murray played that game, we're up 2 scores. And I told my family, because I come from a family of Kyler Murray haters. I'm like, do you guys miss Kyler yet? Because we'd be winning right now.
I miss him every day.
Yeah.
Nerd.
I definitely agree with that point, Will. Like that. I mean, at the end of the day, you put out Josh Dobbs out there, and like Mac, you mentioned, like a lot of people are shitting on him at the end of the day, and it's upsetting. But like, you can see the game, and you can visually see, like, okay, if a quarterback is comfortable with standing in their pocket or not even standing in the pocket, but just the idea of looking at for his first read and then his second read, most of the times that second read was a little bit open enough for a quarterback of Kyler Murray's caliber to fit in a throw. So like, absolutely, I do think this team, and like a lot of people give me shit because I'll go on Twitter Spaces, I'll defend the Cardinals, I'll defend Kyler to the grave until he's gone, because the team it's clearly evident, like, you're a good quarterback away from the expectations of this team being they could be the worst team to, oh, they're a middling team, and sometimes, and maybe with a talent acquisition or two, they are a team that can start contending and get to that playoff notion, I should say. So I agree with that point 100%. Competent quarterback and or elite quarterback as Kyler Murray
even if we have above replacement quarterback play, we win that game. If we have fucking Derek Carr going out there and putting up
Jimmy G.
Is that our goal? Are we trying to win these games? You know, like at the end of the day, people get so fucking mad, but these are the same people who are like, any way they're fucking going crazy. The other tweet, they're like, first pick, baby, here we go.
Any way we cut it, any way we cut it, we're getting the top 5 pick. We don't need 2 of them. I mean, I still am not sold on the idea of having Caleb Williams, because getting Caleb Williams just entails a fucking clusterfuck at the moment. And also, I saw his tape on Saturday. Speaking of guys with fucking shitty pocket presence, he's fucking just he looks like he's on something out there. Like, he's just so jittery. He's so nervous. It's weird to me.
There's a number of times when he can just stand in that pocket and hold on, not just so much hold on to the ball, but I feel like maybe at the same time that may be his play on trying to manipulate the defensive line to go one way and then come back the other way so he can make that throw. So it's like
moving feet. Yeah.
But I definitely agree. I'm not sold on Caleb Williams either. Like, we have a guy that's been in the caliber of MVP talks. Let him get healthy. Let's let him prove himself in the offense that's not manipulated based off of shotgun play, and see where we go from there.
Like, I sent a tweet to the group chat earlier today. You know, it said, really does seem like a lot of these Caleb Williams highlights involve him sitting in the pocket for like 8 seconds. Probably nothing to worry about here. Image unrelated, and it's just a picture of Zach Wilson.
That's true, though. You never know what you're going to get out of a rookie. You think that this guy's going to come in and be the fucking hero just for him to take a shit, because you're in the big man's league now. So shit ain't going to be sweet. And if you can't adjust, get fucked.
Let's do a shout out to Joe, Cardinal Rule. Thank you for coming on, Joe. We love you.
Yes, thank you, Joe. You've been on fire with these comments. I'm sorry I haven't been reading them off. Also, shout out AZ Esports Cards. If you know, you know.
I saw somebody mention the D-line rotation. I wanted to know what you guys thought about that, because I can see that being a thing all year, that we have 6 guys. We may not have one great, like, elite guy that's on the edge, but you have 6 guys that are very good and that can all spell each other at certain times. And you'll have a guy like Xavier, who I'm big on, and or BJ, and then you have Dennis, and then you have Vic, who made a couple plays, and then you have Cam Thomas, who's out there, and then you got Majay when he comes back possibly. So that's like 5 guys right there, plus the guys on the interior D line like Ledbetter, LJ Collier. He's been hurt this week, but he also played a good game as well. And Lucky Fotu, he played a pretty decent game as well. I think that D-line rotation outside of the interior wise could be pretty good. What did you guys think about the outside linebackers on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, when BJ Ojulari is only getting 12 snaps, and no one's really bitching about it, that's a good thing. We saw Victor DiMKG come in there, get a sack without a shoe. Lost his shoe on that play. But he came in and he only played 25 snaps. Dennis Gardeck had multiple sacks, another pressure, only on 28 defensive snaps, which is less than 40% of the defensive snaps. So you see that with Carlos Watkins, and that's how you have to kind of go through an NFL season. if you don't have these, Pro Bowl type, names, you're going to have to, and that's what they did in training camp is they made it competitive. Cream rises to the top. You get as many guys in here. And, we weren't believers. I'm going to be straight up. I was not a believer heading in that it was going to be that good. But it shows that this coaching staff has a plan.
Yeah.
It's good to see with JG being a defensive guy, Nick Rawlis. It's good to see that that's a part of the team that balled out. I would be a little bit more, it'd be a little more concerning if the coach's, bread and butter was the one that, was lacking. But, from week one, I think it was all good, pointing in a positive direction. What do you think, Jackie?
And I think it's not conventional to be constantly rotating out these defensive linemen, but there is a benefit to that. At least, everybody's going to come out looking sharp, especially if your defense is going to be on the field a bunch. A lot, guys will get their rest. They'll be a little more sharp. But yeah, you got to give credit to, Jonathan Gannon, who was last week the butt of everybody's joke that, he's just this goofy motherfucker. I mean, meanwhile, we had Cliff, Mr. Fucking Cool, who couldn't coach worth a shit. Now we get this goofy motherfucker who everyone's like, oh, he's goofy, he's weird, he looks like Murph from Impractical Jokers, he can't coach worth a shit. And he came out and had his fucking defense rolling, set the tone to the point where everybody's calling it Bountygate 2.0, saying, oh, Gannon wants killers. Look what he did to this team. It's like, well, yeah, he fucking wants killers, but no, we're not trying to fucking target Sam Howell. Like, get the fuck out of here. Why would we want to hurt Sam Howell?
We would rather be on this side of the line instead of that fucking soft ass getting run over. Like, yes. I'd rather have my guys be towing the line for sure of what's right and what's wrong until they start fucking calling it, until someone gets fucking fined. I mean, this is football. At the end of the day, it's a grown man fucking sport.
It's a violent sport.
If you don't like it, then fucking stop running your quarterback out fucking wide. Sorry, that's just the NFL. But I do have to give a shout out to Keitrell Clark, fucking 6th-round rookie playing 100% of the snaps. That I'll give up to
the dog.
That. And then fucking Kayvon Wallace coming over here 11 days prior to the game off of waivers from Philly. Coming over here and having a career day. First career game with multiple pass deflections, had 7-8 tackles, which was his third most in his career, and he's in his 4th year. So that is somebody who right off the bat, that's an upgrade over Isaiah Simmons. That's someone we just found on the waiver wire. So, hats off to Austin Fort, Jonathan Gannon for getting guys in here and creating a culture of competition. This ain't cupcake fucking no more. So, it's good. At the end of the day, I want to see my guys towing that line of physicality because you're all you're going to be otherwise is just going to be talk. I want killers, but your defense is soft. That's just fucking talk. No, I want it embedded in these guys' fucking heads that we're towing that line, and teams aren't going to be, looking forward to playing us, and these quarterbacks aren't just going to fucking run all over us. Fuck that.
Yep. Yeah. To your point about Keitrell Clark, I got an actually interesting note about Keitrell Clark about from the game, but to your point about just being ready and the guys. I agree with you 100% that, like, if you can't go out there and say, like you mentioned about killers and things like that, and not have any type of physicality in the game, because we saw that a notion of times with Vance Joseph, how this team would have good players on the interior and still consistently get run over. And Washington was a very good run team last year, and you saw them not be until the 4th quarter, I should say, they weren't able to run the ball or have depth of yards running the ball. So I agree with you 100%. And you go to that point about Kayvon Wallace, we heard Jonathan Gannon and Monty Austin were talking about there are stages in acquiring players. Like, it's not just the draft, it's not just free agency, it's things like the waiver wire each week. And you mentioned Kayvon Wallace, big waiver acquisition for the team. Like, every week and every notion of the season and the year of football, like, this team will be scouting players that they can add on this football team, and you love to see that because you will no longer have like guys that are on the team that you expect to be doing something that will be doing nothing because either they aren't a scheme fit or the coaches may not have an interest in playing you, whatever the case may be. Like, everybody that comes into the roster now has a purpose, whether it be any special teams, depth, starter, elite player, whatever it is. We see that now, so I love that. But the notion on Keitrell Clark, real quick, when I was running up to grab another drink from the concession stand, I looked to my left, and like there was a person wearing the Keitrell Clark number 13 jersey, and like when I tell you, it was actually his brother. I think it was his brother and his family that was right there because he's from Richmond, so he was out there.
Oh shit!
His brother looked smack like him, like I mean, dead like him. And I was like, I thought that was Keitrell Clark in the stands. I was about to I was getting to the point where I was a little drunk. So I'm like, Keitrell, what are you doing out here in the stands? I need you on the field. But it was like his little brother. So shook his hand, said what's up to him. I think it was his mother out there too. So good to see them out there. Glad to see he was able to get tickets, nice seats for them too. But that's just my little spot on Keitrell Clark. But I agree with you 100%, Mac.
Nice.
Hell yeah! What happened, Will? You seem to leave and come back.
I clicked on the
college things.
I clicked on
hot milks in my area.
Yeah, no, they yeah, and then one came over, and that took me a few seconds. No,
that was quick.
You know, I had bigger things. I had bigger things planned. I got to talk about my boys.
So how are we feeling about Sunday?
Giants don't scare me.
I 100% believe they're going to come out with the purpose. The Giants are.
They're gonna come out with
embarrassed. They got smacked.
They're gonna come out with a fire under their belly. But I mean, it's on the same token though. It's the fucking Giants.
No one's scared of Daniel Jones. Nobody.
Daniel
if he wants to run, we're gonna toe that fucking line for week 2. You know, you want to run, you're gonna get. You better get down and down early.
Not to give him a brain.
We gotta.
Sorry.
Damn, that moon juice goes hard, man. That's like 9%.
It does go pretty hard.
That shit fucking, and you had a big old cup too. I know you got a 24-ounce at least in that bitch.
Yeah, no, the Giants didn't look remotely competent. And it's like, I know that's kind of a no shit statement in a game you lose 40-0, but I mean they looked abysmal, and I think that's the kind of game that stays in your head for a while. And in addition, I mean, the Giants, I mean, we've had their number for a while. Yeah. Like I mean, it's
a sign of a soft team. If you come out and you're more resilient than they expect you to be, they could fold. You know, they might have all the intentions coming in, but if we come out and we're the more physical team, there's gonna be a lot to be told this weekend. You know, I expect it to be another close game. You know, from our side.
I fully expect a James Conner masterclass come Sunday.
What does that look like? Like a long run of 14 yards, or like what is?
I'm thinking at least 2 TDs.
2 TDs, yeah, multiple TD game. I will say about the running game is that Jesse Luketa only played 4 snaps at fullback, but we end up averaging over 7 yards to carry with him. It would be nice to. It just seems like something back there, especially when you have, you know, one of your bookends is a rookie who isn't honestly the best pass blocker. There's a reason why, you know, he was drafted where he was drafted so high, and it wasn't because of his rush blocking. Sorry, excuse me. His pass blocking.
I was like, he's a good pass blocker. What do you mean?
No. So you give him a little help over there, you know. And Zach Ertz, if you're playing Zach Ertz, fucking 75% of the snaps. He's not known as a physical tight end, so you're gonna need to give some help over there with probably Swain. He's probably our best blocker, but that is something that I would like to see more of. There's more than 5 snaps from Jesse Luketa. Don't just make it like a niche thing. Don't make it like it's a wild card. If it ain't Luketa, get some sort of fullback back there. Get some sort of physicality back onto this offense because. You know, after week 1, I don't expect us to be lighting up the scoreboard or anything like that. I do expect Dobbs to find the end zone at least once. And, you know, I think it is a good sign that his turnovers were fumbles and not INTs. If you have 2 and there were a couple of dropped INTs. Yeah, I get that.
I was going to say, he was towing that line a little bit.
On both sides, yeah. That's why I thought the weather might have played more of a factor than what you believe it did. Because Sam Howell looked like dog shit too, but the Cardinals front 7 was fantastic. So you know, and you didn't see Washington take too many deep shots to Dotson. You know, McLaren. You know, like it seemed like it was just a muck it up, grind it out type of game, and that's something that the Cardinals are probably going to be in a lot. You know, this year there's going to be a lot of. That's what we want. We want to muck it up. We want to be dirty. You know, you mentioned last week that there'd be rain in the forecast. Like, good. That favors us, and
was it that misty rain?
Game ended. What's that?
Yeah.
Because I lived out there for a couple of years, and that would piss me off because I'd look outside and I'd be like, oh, it's raining, and I'd go outside and it's like mist. It's like annoying enough that it gets on my glasses, but it's not,
it was like every stage of rain possible. Like it was the mist, then it was clear, then it was like the hard drizzle,
droplets.
then it was it was like a mix of all. So it was never, you couldn't get used to anything. It was no wind. You said
That's weird.
It wasn't wind.
Very windy out there.
It was like that Florida type. It was like that Florida type
Right.
rain where it's just coming down. It's humid. It's like it's not really. It wasn't wind,
that's
so it was
worse.
just everything was just wet.
That's the worst way when it's humid and you're getting rained on. This is some bullshit. As Phoenicians, we know that it rains here and then it stops. 2 minutes later, it's like 115 already again. What the hell?
And the rain evaporates like that.
Oh, like that.
But yeah, for this Giants game, it'll be interesting. I think like obviously Kayvon Thibodeau. So that's DJ Humphrey's battle. Him in Paris this week. Kayvon Thibodeau is real. As crazy as he is in the head, he's real. He's a real player. So and then Dexter Lawrence as well. So the guards again, Elijah Wilkerson, gonna have to buckle up your chin strap, brother, because he's coming. But overall, I do think we have a chance to like take shots. Wink Martindale, obviously aggressive. So those corners will be left out there 1-on-1. Hollywood, Rondale, Michael, they all have chances to get one if Dobbs decides to throw it. And I do like James Conner this week too. Just has to get past that front four. If he gets past that front four into the second level, I think we'll have a good day because obviously like their safeties, they hit hard, but they're small. They have Isaiah Simmons now. I mean, I don't know how much he'll play, but it'll be interesting. And obviously for us on defense, like if you put Daniel Jones in the box, like and it's interesting with them because they were very impressive last year offensively, at least to start, because of how they got Saquon Barkley involved in the game on the outside of perimeter. They got Daniel Jones on the move. And that's what all they were doing. Now we have a full season to see how to stop that. And they keep Daniel Jones in the box like he was previously before Dayball. And you saw what happened last week. Got sacked 1,000,000 times. So like you do what you got. Those edges do what they do on the outside. Attack those. I mean, and again, it's funny with them because they have 2 first-round tackles, 2 top 10 tackles or top 12 tackles that they took in Evan Neal and Andrew Thomas, and they were getting mauled by the Cowboys defensive line. As good as they are, we came out with 6 sacks too with a bunch of guys. So I mean, they're going to now have to see a plethora of guys as well this week. So like, you keep Daniel Jones in that box. There's no receivers out that they have on their side to scare you. Darren Waller is a great tight end, but we have Budda Baker, we have Jalen Thompson, we have Kazir White, we have Zaven Collins, we have guys that match up with size with him. And then, like I said, the wide receivers on the outside don't scare you enough outside of Jalen Hyatt's speed to think about being a factor. So you put that pressure on Daniel Jones, you force him in the pocket, make him make throws. This will be another low-scoring game. I don't see the Giants going out there being an explosive team. I see this being, like you mentioned, Mac, a muck-it-up game because both offenses won't be. I don't think both offenses will be as successful against the defenses as many think. Like many think a lot of Giants fans just think it'll be bounce back game against the Cardinals. It like, okay, we'll get back right. Like, no, like you have tape on Daniel Jones now to see how to stop him. And Daboll, he has to come up with a great game plan against guys that kind of had his number last year in Nick Rallis and JG. So I'm interested for this game. I'm ready for this one.
If we're being honest, the Cardinals have a better wide receiver core than
Absolutely.
Darius Slayton, Paris Campbell,
absolutely,
Isaiah Hodgins. I'm not going to bag on Isaiah or anything, but those guys combined for 5 catches. Darius Slayton had 3 of them. So no other wide receiver had more than 1 reception for the Giants last week. As much as Paris Campbell came in, from Ohio State, he hasn't done anything in this league yet. And then Darren Waller looks like he might be out this week as well. And, he can't stay healthy. That's another guy right there out of your starting lineup that you're losing right off the bat. So his best receiver really is Saquon Barkley. And if you got the linebackers in the front 7 that look like we had, athletic, like Kazir White flying everywhere. Like, I love to see that, man. I feel like it's been a minute since we had a linebacker in his prime that was flying around the field and actually led the defense. Like, I feel like he's the captain because he is the one who's been in this system the longest. he's the one that you watch the film. It seems like, out of that linebacking core, even Buddha, like it seems like Kaiser White's the one who's not the one having to think about anything, and he's the one relaying the plays to everyone. So I do think that the Cardinals have the better offensive weapons aside from Saquon Barkley, especially if Darren Waller's out. So to your point, I don't expect us to. I wouldn't. It'd be hard pressed to think both teams scoring, over 20 points. But yeah, I like our chances, man, with our personnel compared to theirs.
Yeah.
What say you, Will? Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. No, good. You go ahead.
I think we're gonna win, which means we're gonna lose every game.
No.
Isaiah Simmons revenge game. What are we thinking on that?
He shows up, decides
he's probably been in the offense. He's probably been in their offensive meetings more, telling them about what he's seen in practice for last month over more than anything. Because
I just hope
that would be a good that's probably the key factor why they picked him up. Like, well, we play the Cardinals week 2.
I just hope that the Cardinals adjust to that possibility, because I remember Patrick Peterson went on a podcast once and said, every time that he'd face the Cardinals after he was let go by them, he'd say they're still, it's still the same signals, it's still the same bullshit since I left. So
that goes to show Cliff, like that's Cliff.
Yeah,
Cliff's scheme is the same thing. It's just, can the players make a play? No, like you got to adjust a little bit, like just a tiny bit, like in the NFL. I don't know. Maybe that's not why you have a job.
Yeah, your cadences. You can't have the same verbiage.
Yeah.
But Isaiah Simmons played 15 snaps last week. I don't believe he had any counting stats. We'll see. I'm sure he'll get more snaps this week, and he's going to be highly motivated. But this is a game where, if they want to put him up against Paris Johnson on the edge, I like Paris Johnson, 9 out of 10 times, 10 out of 10 times.
Paris Johnson had a hell of a game on Sunday, by the way. Fucking loved him on Sunday.
Pass blocking for sure. He had a couple of hiccups in run blocking, but nothing too crazy. There were just a couple plays where you're like, okay, like, your first game fucking your career, but pass blocking, that's all you can ask for, man.
That's all you can ask for too, is because if you get K1 back here and he's got a little bit more time to fucking put some zip on the ball and throw, game over. We needed that, and that's why you draft him. You draft him to protect your quarterback, who's coming off of a big, ACL injury. So fingers crossed, we get to see him at some point. But if anybody is going to the game Sunday, find your girl, buy her a beer. Don't be afraid to keep them low. But I will be there Sunday. So given the fact that I will be there Sunday for the first time in 2 years. The last time I was at a game, I met Will, I met Mac. I was 7 months pregnant.
Yep.
So I'm over due for a beer at the game.
Shout out Pops.
Shout out Pops. Pops is taking me to the game. So if you see me,
they found out that I was secretly Kyler Murray, and they were like, "Wow, Will, you're so cool." I mean, Kyler.
Brother. Oh, brother.
Speaking of Kyler, I actually was able to get a selfie with Kyler. I talked to him for like 25 seconds.
What?
I probably should have started with that, right? But like he told me, like I asked him, I was like, how you doing, bro? He's he's feeling good. I said, when you back? He said, as soon as possible. So, he looked good on the sideline.
Right here from Cory. Follow Cory, everyone. Cory _cards. Breaking fucking coming back as soon as possible.
He looked good. Obviously, like I wish I could. As soon as the motion that it happened, it was that he came out, like the Commanders fans by me. It was like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? I was in my head like, oh, you fucking people. But like at the same time, I was just like, oh yeah, I was like, that's Kyler Murray. That's the quarterback.
To be fair, the people who went to that game hadn't been to a football game in 30 years. Let's give them some slack.
That is very real. A lot of fake fans up in the DMV.
Was that place rocking? Was that louder than places you've been, Cory?
It wasn't louder than M&T Bank Stadium. I've been there too. When we played them, it definitely was rocking. It definitely was loud in there. Like don't get me wrong. Like they were hyped. They were happy about the new ownership. They kept mentioning about how this felt like a new era, new stuff like that. I went to one of my friend's tailgates that was there, so you saw a whole bunch of tailgates out there. Commanders fans, they were hyped. They were happy about the game. So they definitely will pop out. And I mean, for those NFC East games, like Cowboys, Giants games, the Eagles games. They'll be out there for sure. So they have to win obviously to change things around, but it definitely was a energetic day. I think Kevin Durant was there. You guys, that's your man now.
Yeah,
so
I saw that.
I just want to say I had my bachelor party Saturday. So I had my bachelor party Saturday, right? And staying at a resort around here. So I had to go to bed about 5 a.m. So I had my alarm set for 9:55, 5 minutes before fucking kickoff. Fucking alarm going off, and like reach for the fucking remote, just turn it on. So I'm like, falling asleep in between commercial breaks. I'm okay, we gotta get out of here by 11. Listening to the second quarter on the way home, but that I must say that first quarter was a little rough. So when I got back home, last night or the night before, started watching the game again. I'm like, oh, that's what happened. Oh, that's how we got that. So that's why, I don't like to tweet shit if I haven't seen fucking the game or anything. So I like to hold my opinions. But after watching that game, man, like you said, the way we moved in our front seven, what was impressive to see how deep that was. That stood off, right away, just to see every Cam Thomas coming in. And Victor Dimukeje, he had a huge preseason last year. And I was hopeful he was going to pop off, and it just didn't really work out. But now he has that opportunity. Now we're not getting veterans in here to just kind of stopgap, with Vance Joseph's fucking scheme. We're coming in here and we're giving these guys opportunity, because the one thing Kime did is, he might not have drafted guys to where they come in right away and play, but you're looking at a lot of guys around the roster, and there's still a lot of young defensive guys that are, that are Kime guys that he brought in that now are getting the opportunity. And that's just something that we haven't seen under Vance Joseph, because when you kick the can down the road so often that you don't give these guys to blossom. We've seen it time and time again where, you're done your first contract and we still don't know what the fuck you are, So it is good to see, some of these guys who've shown promise in the past get an opportunity. Shout out, how do I pronounce it? Jean-Paul Edouard de Dios. Thanks for joining us. And we talked about the run game, and I agree with you. We do need to establish a run game for sure. And Jesse Luketa, I want to see, as much as he was able to, get, flexed in as linebacker right there, I wouldn't mind with how deep it looks like we are to start the season. Get him, he only had 4 snaps at fullback. Get him back there a little bit. No one's going to run him over. So if he's hitting the hole, James Conner is going to get an extra, 4 or 5 yards just for the fact that Jesse Luketa is there like a fucking shooting out of a cannon. So that is something that we definitely need to establish. You have to establish a run game for sure, especially when you have a guy who's taken, less than 120 snaps and Josh Dobbs. It's just if you're not able to have good offensive line play and you're not able to get consistent running game, you can't get mad at Josh Dobbs for fucking trying to win the game when he was never asked to fucking be traded here 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, to be forced into a fucking starting role. So that's just my whole thing is, I expect him to at least start through that 49er game in 4 weeks. And if he doesn't show anything, then you give Clayton Tune that opportunity in week 5. But you don't want to throw a 5th rounder out there.
Against San Francisco. But not even just a 5th rounder who's had since April to win that starting job.
Or the
writing's on the wall, people. He's not ready. He didn't look ready.
In 30 years where a 5th rounder would have started out of the season. That's just not something. Josh Dobbs has the arm to play. I talked about it a little bit last week and previously, that they cut Colt McCoy because he couldn't make the throws. He had no zip on the ball. I feel like Josh Dobbs has that zip on it. Sure,
accuracy.
It was a little while. Yeah, exactly. But you expect that, especially, in that environment on the road, a little bit of rain, a little sloppy. So I think you have to expect that. But to see him be able to make all the throws, that is first and foremost what I, needed to see, because Colt McCoy just couldn't do it anymore.
I will say that those throws were at least in the zip code of the receiver.
Yeah, like Zach Ertz, people are like, oh, no, that ball's overthrown. No, bitch, that hit him in the hand. It touches your hand. He had 2 of those. That second one was later in the game. I have a bitch written down right here. Ertz, I'm calling it 2 drops. When it goes through your hands, man, you're on the playground, it's 2 drops. The second one was on the second drive of the 3rd quarter. We had to settle for another field goal.
Yep.
But that was on third down, 3rd and like 8. He runs perfect. Would have been a first down. It was on Washington's side of the field, and that you just can't have that happen.
Dobbs has more upside of getting more acclimated with the offense than Clayton Tune does at this point. Because even like we were down one point, and someone was like, "Get Tune in here." I'm like, "You don't put in a fucking rookie 5th round draft pick when you're down 1 score and you have 7 minutes, 6 minutes."
Because at the end of the day, he only had 9.
Also,
2 of them were drops. One went through Michael Wilson's hand at the kind of towards the 4th quarter. It was a high ball. That one I would say it could be overthrown, but the Ertz end zone one, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When the game is that close, unless your guy goes down, there's no reason to switch out.
Exactly.
You
don't know fucking ball if you thought that.
It destroys chemistry. It destroys morale. It destroys momentum. And as much as I am a Josh Dobbs hater at the moment, switching him out would not have done us any better.
Unless just like Edward De Dio says, unless it's a QB sneak at the 5-yard line, which we see that with Luck and Chris Streveler. But no, you're right, Will, and that is a very good point that you brought up. It's a morale killer. If you're even now, if you're trying to put in, Clayton Tune, and he goes out there and gets his ass fucking kicked, and then you try to go back to Dobbs, like no, you can't. No, you have to be consistent.
You lose the locker room at that point.
Yep. Yeah, and I thought there's a QB battle.
Yeah, I thought Josh Dobbs, like you mentioned, like I thought he did well enough to, like, especially to some like Zach Ertz, his touchdown drop. You got to catch that. The second drop, I will say that was a point of the game when it was like raining. So like Zach Ertz, you have to catch that. You're a veteran. That's the only slight that I'll give you is like that was the point of the game when it actually was raining. The ball, I literally watched the ball zip right through his hands. I was like, fuck.
We saw that on TV.
I was like, it's raining, but it's like I'm like, okay. I get that one, but at the same time, like you're a vet, and at the same time, you gotta see if Trey McBride hold on to that ball, because I definitely think he holds on to the touchdown ball
on the sideline too. McBride did.
He 100% catches the touchdown ball, 100%. So it's like your time is on the line, son. Especially if Trey McBride's gonna have 2 catches and they look like that after a great block, he cuts it up the field and then he has the one down the field. Your time is ticking, Zach Ertz. So gonna have to start balling soon, or we put you in a situation where you can quote unquote win another Super Bowl, do whatever you want to do, but time's ticking.
And it's probably not fair for that weather for him to be in and play that many snaps without playing in the preseason game. And honestly, Josh Dobbs didn't play in 1 snap for the Browns in this preseason either. They held him out those first 3, whatever it was, the first 2 games before we traded for him. And Zach Ertz didn't play in the game. So these are 2 guys who that's his go-to. He had 10 targets to Zach Ertz. They never played in a preseason game, neither one of them in a preseason game. Zach Ertz is coming off, playing in a sloppy field. Field didn't look too bad. I don't want to call it sloppy, but sloppy weather. And it was obvious just going back and watching Zach Ertz to McBride. Ertz is coming off an ACL tear, so you got to give him the benefit of the doubt, But I was surprised Ertz got that much more run than McBride. I have 2. Yeah. I have both in a fantasy league. I started McBride. I'm like, if anything, McBride's going to fucking start the season, and it's Josh Dobbs, new quarterback. You got to be going to your tight end often. You have to figure it was just the wrong. He ended up having more points than Ertz, but it wasn't because of how much he played. It was the way McBride was able to run after the catch is something that, Zach Ertz just can't do in this stage of his career anymore.
Yep.
And, I'm a little bit of a, I guess you could say a homer, a truther. I know there wasn't a lot of wide receivers. No, me. Just, there wasn't a lot of going on with our wide receivers this week. But put my boy George in there. He's very reliable. Get George in there.
A lot of routes just weren't developed by the time, too. Like, going back and looking, I was actually looking for that, man. Like, I was like, okay, is this Josh Dobbs? Is this the offensive line? It was just like, okay, you have your hot route to Zach Ertz. Maybe have another, running back. But your outside guys, they were running. No one's looking up. No one's, So by the time Dobbs has to make a move because he's getting pressured and has to get the ball out, there's one guy looking at the ball. And, you haven't had a rapport with any of these guys. you're not going to be throwing to them before they can turn their heads. You know, you're not going to be able to. So I would like to see a little bit. And Drew Petzing, you know, this is his first time as well coming into being an offensive coordinator. He just has Dobbs too. You know, he might have had him last year for a few weeks, but he's not in an ideal position either. He's kind of in a shitty position too, Drew Petzing. So, but I expect them, how smart Dobbs is. I expect him to almost tell Petzing, this is what I feel comfortable with. This is what might work a little bit more. You know, we had one game. Like, this is Josh Dobbs' career right here. He might not ever get another chance like this. You have to fucking let him know what you feel could be good, you don't feel good about. So I am curious to see how the offense develops, because Cliff was a lot of stagnant, same shit over and over and over. Like when we saw D-Hop on the left side over and over and over and over.
Definition of insanity, Cliff.
And we saw how the
over and over.
How the defense was able to switch people in there, very flexible, fluid on defense. And I do feel like that is something that the offense will gain. But this week one it was far from ideal in so many circumstances. And that the fact that we were even in this game, the end and had a chance to win it. Like you said, if Will Hernandez doesn't fucking, stumble forward and get that illegal formation or that, illegal man downfield, that's a 30-yard play wiped out where you're in the red zone already that you end up settling for, I believe, a punt. So that little shit like that, I'm not going to put it all on Dobbs. If he was absolute dog shit throwing picks left and right, yes. But I saw him zip on the ball, 21 for 30. He's getting the guys the ball, multiple drops. I'm not putting it on him. The game plan was obviously not to fucking go deep, but they need to get Rondell. They need to get Hollywood in space more. That is no question about it.
I will say I think Sunday was one of the best I've seen Rondell used in terms of like what he's doing on the field. I think he just has to get the ball. I do think that Josh Dobbs he doesn't obviously have trust to, like, these guys will catch it and then maybe make a play. Like there was the end around to Hollywood. That was a big play. That was a great design play. And a person like Hollywood doesn't need to be past the line of scrimmage to get the ball as well. Like he can get it on end arounds. He can get it on quick screens. Same thing with Rondell Moore. And I think Rondell's they used orbit motions. He would come around from the backfield and line up in the backfield sometimes. So like just doing that, like it presents a different level of the defense that they have to understand where Cliff, it was Rondell. If you're running motion, you're running a screen. If you're out there, it's a screen. It's a slant. It's a dig. It's an out. It's a go ball. Like it's that. That's it from the receivers. These receivers we saw Hollywood do comeback routes. We saw him do in routes. We saw him do comeback routes. So at the end of the day, there's a lot more to be gained from this offense when the quarterback and the wide receivers have more practice time, more ability to get in sync with each other. And then when Kyler gets back, you have the deep ball ability again come back. So it'll be interesting if they take shots this week. I think they definitely should, but it's only room for improvement. To see that for 2 weeks, that should be encouraging, not disappointing, because again, everybody told us that we'll be shit this year. So any game that you're in where you see a performance like that, you have to be encouraged and you have to be hopeful that the next week they'll just keep building on to that.
So should we get into pick'ems?
Yeah, especially when you have 150 yards and penalties. That's unacceptable.
I thought that was the biggest thing. I thought that was the deterring factor of the game.
In third and long. I think they had a dozen times where the offense is in third and long. And you have how many penalties? It was that for a minute there. That was bad. That was reminding me of Cliff bad. But it's the first game of the year. You have to let that shit kind of, kind of solidify itself. And I don't think it's going to be that bad moving forward. That's got to be a point of emphasis for JG this week.
That it worried me a little bit because the last 2 preseason games there was a lot of penalties, and then this one there was a lot of penalties. So I don't think it's a trend that will keep going forward because they will emphasize it. But I do need that cleaned up. I need less than 5 or maybe even none. I would love for none on.
Can I just say after the first preseason game too, people are like, "Oh, culture's changed. No more penalties. No more this." And it's it just reminds me how stupid people are. Like you're making a fucking observation off of fucking the first preseason game. when none of the fucking dudes are playing more than fucking a possession. Like it's hilarious. I love fans.
But shout out John Paul Edward de Dios. You know, you're spitting in these comments, and I agree.
Sure.
You know, he had originally said that you know, if Dobbs only fumbled once, we'd still win, which is very true. And then, you know, if Dobbs just needs to manage the game and give the defense time to rest and wreak havoc, which is also true. And I thought he did okay with game management, and that's kind of what you
all
want
boys
from
in the offensive line, I believe. You know,
yeah.
Because if you have no running game, you're not getting time. You can't expect a guy in here less than a month to save you when he's a journeyman quarterback to begin with. But you do have to realize he did win that fucking QB2 job with the Browns straight up. You have to give this guy time before calling him dog shit. I don't give a fuck, you know, who you are as a fan. You can't just go in there with these fucking already saying, no, this guy's fucking dog shit. No, this guy is fucking better than Clayton Tune. I'll tell you that right now. Maybe not in 3-4 years, but today, right now, he gives us the best chance to win fucking games.
And with all this being said, you guys want to pick all the games or just our game?
Let's do the Cardinals again.
All of them.
What time is it?
It's 7:03 for you.
We've been on for an hour and a minute. You know what? Fuck it. Corey's here for all time's sake. If we can just get through this real quick so I can go take a shower.
I was going to say, well, when you're here 2 weeks in a row, then you can start telling us how to do shit. So
yeah, no. So we'll run through these games real quick.
All right. Packers, Falcons.
Packers. Are you writing
Where's
this down,
that?
Matt?
Packers. I won't overthink it. Packers.
Okay.
Falcons. It's going to be the Falcons.
I wanted to go
Cordero
Falcons,
Patterson's
too.
going to fucking tear him up. Let's go.
All right, so we all went. Okay, GB except for Will. Okay.
Yeah.
Next.
All right, Raiders, Bills.
Buffalo in a bounce
Bills.
back week for sure.
Let's get right game for Josh Allen. He's my fantasy quarterback.
I would love to see what their fan base looks like if they lose, but yeah, I'm going Buff.
Go New York, go New York, go! It's gonna be the Bills, baby.
That's Will's thing, by the way, everybody. Get ready for it all season.
All right.
Ravens, Bengals.
Bengals.
Bounce back, Bengals. Got to.
Daddy Burrow's gonna come through.
Bengals. Ravens have an injury tear, and they looked awful even when they weren't injured on Sunday.
You're going
against a very bad Texans team.
I'll say the Ravens just in case somebody in my household is listening right now.
Yep.
All right, Baltimore, let's go.
What up, Corey Pops?
He just might be listening in, so I'll say Ravens. But
Zay Flowers though, they got a little hope there. They haven't had a wide receiver in a minute. Zay Flowers looks pretty good.
Corey,
Seahawks.
do me a favor though. Mail me some Maryland soft shell crab. That's what I missed.
We'll do. Actually, I had some last weekend. That's that. Yeah, we'll do.
Damn.
Gotcha.
Right. Seahawks, Lions.
Lions.
Ooh, go Detroit, go.
Give me Detroit. Yeah, Detroit.
I got Seattle.
Of course you do.
All right, got Colts versus Texans.
Go Colts. We want that Texans to keep losing.
Yep, go Colts.
Colts. All right.
Anthony Richardson playing?
He's questionable.
Okay. I'll go Houston just to be fucking that person.
All right, Chiefs, Jags.
Where is
I'm
that?
going Jags. Fuck it.
It's in Jacksonville.
Oh!
Let's go Jags.
I think we got a clean sweep here. I think it's all Jags for us.
Oh,
I'll take
I'll
the
go
Chiefs to be that
KC
guy
then.
this time.
No,
I was going to say.
You got
I'll
KC
definitely
for
go
you, or
Chiefs.
what are you thinking?
Say it again.
You got KC, or are you thinking Jags?
Yeah. I got the Chiefs. I got them bouncing back.
Smart.
All right, Bears, Bucks.
Ooh.
Bucks.
I'm going Baker Mayfield. He punked the shit out of Byron Murphy.
Yeah,
I'm not.
He did. He called him a little boy.
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not sold on the. I'm not sold on the Bucks. I'm gonna pick the Bears.
Oh, you're sold
I'll
on
take
the Bears?
I'll take the Bucks because of that
Nasty.
defense. I think the Bucks defense can give Justin Fields problems again. He didn't look good last week. So
All right, Chargers, Titans.
Chargers.
That Chargers defense is fucking
Yeah.
porous. I mean,
Yeah.
I think Ryan Tannehill's going to have himself a nice day. I think Henry and Hop are going to tear up that really bad Chargers defense.
I got
It's going to be the
faith in
Titans.
Denver.
I don't know if that offense.
They saying DeAndre Hopkins might have a high ankle sprain, but I don't think
he's got a high pussy sprain. Come on.
All right. After that,
who'd you pick? Will, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
High pussy sprain.
All right. After that, I got Niners Rams.
Yeah.
Ooh, Niners.
Yeah, you gotta go San Fran. Unfortunately,
San Fran.
Unfortunately, we gotta pick someone.
Yeah.
All right. After that, we got Jets Cowboys.
Gotta go Dallas with how they played.
Dallas.
J-E-T-S. Jets.
Man,
I got the
Dallas
Jets.
on that one.
Then,
All right,
you know,
Jackie.
if anybody has been with us from the jump, you fucking know about me and the Jets.
You and the Jets and you and the Texans.
Yep.
That's like you and the Giants, Will.
Go New York, go New York, go.
After that, we got Commanders Broncos, and what I have to say is probably the worst game of the week.
Broncos.
I'll go Washington.
Washington.
Yeah, I'll go Washington too. I think they can go in there and win that game.
After that, we got Dolphins Pats.
Dolphins. Scrambled egg brain 2 is gonna do it.
Wow.
Patriots always do a good job
Yeah.
defeating a passing attack, so I think the Pats are going to win it.
If the Dolphins don't choose to run the ball, which Mike McDaniel might just not choose to run the ball, I think the Patriots can win that game for sure. But it's going to come down to Mac. I mean, that'll be an interesting game. I don't know if that'll be as high scoring as people might think it will be.
Jones.
Yeah.
That's his name. Look it up. McCorkle.
All right, Monday Night Football. We got Saints Panthers. Who we got?
Well, who'd you pick on that game?
I've got Pats versus beating the Dolphins.
All right, and then Cory, you got Dolphins.
Give me New England. Give me New England.
All right.
Shock the world.
After that, we got Saints Panthers.
I got the Saints because fuck you, Bryce Young. You took a shit on my fantasy team. You short motherfucker.
I'm going New Orleans too. I think they got a little bit better of a defense and probably a little better chance to win.
I think Bryce Young goes out, and I think he wins in his home debut.
Of course, you live in Carolina.
I was thinking Carolina. I was thinking the Panthers too. I think their defense plays well against that Saints offense, and that gives them a shot at home.
After that, we got Brown Steelers, and I think this one's unanimous, isn't it?
Cleveland. With that defense, yeah. And Pittsburgh's offense, putrid. Let's see what Cory got, though.
I have one of my close friends is a Steelers fan, so he's been trying to convince me why it wasn't that bad. The Browns offense didn't look great. Steelers defense is still elite. They are missing Cam Hayward now. Give me the Steelers at home Monday. Give me the Steelers at home Monday night. Give me the Steelers at home Monday night. They can't lose 2 in a row at home.
No,
they can't lose 2 in a row at home.
No.
I gotta read this comment real quick on AZ Sports Cards. Who, if you don't know, that's my boyfriend. Photoshopped my face on a picture of Bryce Young because he's short and I'm short. So yes, I am Bryce Young's biggest hater. I'll have to next pod. I'm gonna post the picture.
Do it.
And all of that leads us to at 4:05 Eastern, 1:05 Pacific, your Arizona Cardinals versus the Bodega Eating, the Williamsburg living, the Subway riding New York Giants. Who do we got?
I've got our Cardinals. I will be in attendance. Like I said, everybody buy me a beer if you see me. I'm going to go Cards 17-13.
I got Cards 18-16 somehow. Hey, and when I predicted that 19-17 score, we were down what? 17.
It's like 17-16, 18-17, some shit like that.
Yeah, something like that. We were only a field goal away, though. I feel like what was that score that I had? Anyways, but yeah, that was. Can't find it.
If we would have scored a touchdown, my 23-20 would have actually hit, which would have been crazy. But this game, give me 27, give me 20-17 Cardinals. Give me 20-17 Cardinals.
Let's go.
The Arizona Cardinals, led by a 2-touchdown rushing performance by James Conner, win against the New York Giants 27-10.
27.
I like.
Okay.
I hope we get some fucking touchdowns, baby, because I'm there, and it's my first. It's my homecoming. It's my big fucking homecoming.
It's your quinceañera. Let's go.
Do
you all think that there will be a lot of Giants fans there?
Oh yeah.
You think so?
I mean,
oh yeah. I saw some ticket holders say it looks like on the resale, it doesn't even look like it's fucking sold out. There's so many tickets available.
Yeah.
So that's usually when you see a lot of people.
If I remember right, the tickets I can actually check right now. The cheapest ticket to watch the Arizona Cardinals face the Giants is $23.
Not bad.
Cory, have you gone to the other stadiums to watch the Cardinals being on the East Coast?
Oh my god.
Yeah, I've been to Jacksonville. I've been to Arizona once, and then Baltimore. But I'm thinking about Houston. And if I didn't have to work Saturday,
you should go to Houston week 17 so you can celebrate our number 1 pick.
You should.
There are end zone row seats for this game for $100.
It's not bad. See, my biggest regret about being on the East Coast for 2.5 years, and it's more of like my husband never wanting to go anywhere, was like I didn't get to go to a lot of away games, and there's tons of cities I could have gone to.
Yeah.
So
pretty close.
But that'll still be my point, is to go to more away games in the future. But no, you're in like the prime spot to like go to New York, Pittsburgh, obviously.
I may go. I was gonna say I may go to Pittsburgh too. My friend that's a Pittsburgh fan, he may want to drive up there. So that may be a place I may go to too. But I mean, if I didn't have to work Saturday, I mean the red eye over there for $100 ticket on the end zone doesn't sound too bad. But we'll see. We'll see.
You're gonna be sick that day.
I mean, $100 tickets in the end
Saturday.
zone.
It's probably hungover as fuck. It's gonna be another fucking morning like last week. Just turn on the game and I'll rewatch the game Monday or Tuesday.
Lower level at midfield is $139 right now.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of Giants fans, man. You see these New Yorkers gonna be looking, and it's sad, but I think they're definitely gonna be a big New York presence there on Sunday, unfortunately.
Oh my god, I wish I was.
Well, they can shove it. I hate their accent.
They'll be nice and quiet though by fourth quarter, I hope.
There we go.
Yep. All right. Should we wrap up? Is this it?
I think that's it.
Always wrap up.
You guys ready?
Yes.
All right. This has been another spectacular episode of the Redbird Redzone podcast. My name is Willie. You can find me on Twitter at LevelNetSwing.
And I'm Jared McCauley. You can find me on Twitter at AZSportsFien. That's FIEN.
And I'm Jackie. You can find me on Twitter at JSanDiego. That is with 2 O's. Find me at the game Sunday.
And I'm Cory. You can find me on Twitter at Cory_cards. Held it down for y'all in Washington. Need y'all hold it down for me down there out in Arizona.
Will do.
Follow Cory. Yeah, we appreciate you, man, coming on. We've never done it where we've had someone 1 week, then go to the game and then come back and break it down with us. So that was awesome, man. And we'll definitely,
no doubt,
when you get back in town, come to town for a game. Hit me up. Show us up. Let's go.
It depends. Like I look at my work schedule, but I may be there for one. If we keep playing ball like this, it got me excited. I may have to pop out for one down there for sure.
All right.
Do it.
All right. I got a room for you if so.
All right.
Appreciate it.
And that's all. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.